Klippa gets its yenika, its life force, specifically by going up, elevating itself from the seventh mador, the seventh level, under the world of Malchut of Atzilut, where it goes up once a day to suck, so to say, the life force, the chayut, out of Kedusha, and it has a very limited amount of how much chayut it can suck out. I mentioned that how we can give a life force to the Klippa. When I don't guard myself, then every opportunity the Klippa has, it will suck some of my Kedusha out of me. That every sin that I do, it gives an opening, so to say, to the Klippa to get chayut from my Kedusha. We mentioned how twice a day, the Zohar calls it two birds, referring to Chochmah and Bina of the world of Bria, that goes out once a day, one in the morning, one at night, and gets elevated into the world of Atzilut. Well, we mentioned that the Bina, the bird that is called Bina, goes up, it goes at night, and that's the time when the Klippa gets its yenika, the sucking from the world of Atzilut. This is kind of in two words what we did yesterday. Now we continue in page Reish Yud Zayin 117, and we left off. No.
Do you have copies or
no? Unfortunately, no.
So it's a virtual page.
Yeah, listening page. We read the Aramaic, we translate it, and then explain. Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said, "Zakayin innun tzadikaya." Happy are the ones, these tzadikim, that kad kudsha brichu ba'a le'atava ruchele. At the time when the Kadosh Baruch Hu comes, remember we said yesterday, the Kadosh Baruch Hu time when it's time for the person to leave, the Kadosh Baruch Hu comes to take the ruach away. He says, happy are the ones who are these tzaddikim, then it's when it's the time for the Kadosh Baruch Hu to take their ruach back to him, ul'sha'ava hahu rucha begave, and to take, he's using a very interesting word. He says l'sha'ava. Sha'ava is like a vacuum cleaner. It's called shoev, and a vacuum cleaner like sucks everything in. He's saying how the lucky are these tzaddikim that when the Kadosh Baruch Hu comes to take the ruach, he like sucks the ruach out. And where does it suck him? Inside to himself, like as if the Kadosh Baruch Hu sucks the ruach out of the body and it gets included with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Lishov oto haruach shel hatzadik betocho, to put it inside of him. Ki ruach o neshama shel adam, the ruach or the neshama of a human being, hu chelek Elokah, is a piece of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and it was given to the person with a blow of a wind, what's called neficha. It says when the Kadosh Baruch Hu created Adam HaRishon, he created a body, and then it says vayipach be'apiv nishmat chaim, he blew in his nose living soul. You can join us, you don't have to be a stranger. He says vayipach be'apiv nishmat chaim, the level of neshama was blown into the body of Adam HaRishon, and the way the neshama, so to say, goes into the body is with the power of blowing. And when the person is time to leave this world and they have to return the ruach to Hashem, the way that the neshama goes is the Kadosh Baruch Hu is kind of sucks it out.
So with Moses and Aaron,
they were great tzaddikim that we're not in that level. That's why when Moshe took Aaron to the mountain and so to say to bury him, and he saw how Hashem comes and kisses him, he says, "I wish I will go like this." We're not in the level of Moshe. We should be just happy if Hashem sucks us out, and not the Malach HaMavet. But needless to say, there were certain tzaddikim in the history that went up in a kiss. Some tzaddikim like Yaakov and Eliyahu Navi went up with their body. They went up. But we're talking about us, human beings, the regular people. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu, so to say, he sucks the neshama out of the body like you inhale something, and it gets included in the Kadosh Baruch Hu. What are you asking? Not with his body, but we know that Yaakov didn't really die. It says Yaakov Avinu never died. Even though also even though we read that his body was buried, but his neshama stayed down here, stayed down alive. We also know this about Yosef, by the way. We're still in Parashat Vayechi. In this week's parasha, the Zohar of this week's parasha is actually saying that Yosef also stayed in Mitzrayim. I mean, if you're looking at the actual script, it says Ve'ele shmot bnei Yisrael yordim Mitzrayma, and all the names of the tribes. Then it says, we read it today, Ve'Yosef haya b'Mitzrayim. What do you mean Yosef haya b'Mitzrayim? He died. The Zohar says no, both his body and his neshama stayed in Mitzrayim. So he wanted to be part of the suffering, he wanted to be included. That's why he said, don't bury me like my father outside. Take me, when you go out of Mitzrayim, then take my bones. But actually his body and his neshama also stayed in Mitzrayim. So we know many tzaddikim, even though the body was buried, the neshama was very much present at the time. Now we continue, the Tanya B'Sha'ata, the Kutcha Brihu Ba'a Le'ata V'Aruchale. We learned that at the time when the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to return the Ruach back to him, Zakaha Hahu Hahu Rucha. If the Ruach is holding in the level of what's called Zakai, that I did what I'm supposed to do, I did Shuvah. You have a question? Oh, the phone. A person is called what's called Zakai. He has the merit. He did what he's supposed to do. He refined his actions. He worked on his midot. He did what he's supposed to do. If the person has the merit, Makti v'aruach tashuv al Elokim asher nitana, it means that the ruach goes right away into the level of malchut that is called Elokim, and that ruach that was given in the body. Ve'i la ishtakach zaka. Now what happens if that ruach is not zakai, doesn't have the merit, it missed a few things, or not only missed a few things, but maybe damaged all sorts of things in this world, which is that's a pretty common thing that happens, that a person comes down to this world and instead of correcting what they're supposed to correct, rather damaging. That poor ruach that will have to now bathe, so to say, in the burning fire of Gehenom. But he says the word bathe, listacha'a, is to like, we know in Gehenom there's a river of fire. That is like you go into the boiling hot pot. More than that, velitaher. I mean, this is. People think Gehenom is a bad place. In essence, it's a good place. It just washes all the dirt off. Not that I'm inspiring anybody to get there, but nevertheless, it cleanses the neshama. And what does it do? It washes off all the dirt that was done by our sins. Like you take a garment to the dry cleaner. The dry cleaner, they don't put it in water, they steam it, and then they get the stains out. Same thing, the soul is dirty from sin, it has to be cleaned. Ulit takana, and that, by going into this process, it corrects the nefesh, the ruach, the neshama, whatever stains are on it, then it has to be cleaned. Begin lishtava begufa de malka. In order for it to be goes to the same level that we said about before, that when Kadosh Baruch Hu comes to take a ruach, he takes it and it becomes one with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. The way to understand what it means one with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, take now a very big flame and next to it a little candle. Once you put the little candle close to the big flame, then both flames they unite, and if hypothetically you will ignore the wick and the candle, it just looks at one flame, it becomes one flame. So this is the idea of that the Kadosh Baruch Hu inhales the ruach, and the ruach becomes part of Hashem. Now if the person, like we said, did good deeds, mitzvot, and corrected their sin, then the Ruach gets taken right away to the world of Malchut and it becomes united with Hashem. But if a person, Chas v'Shalom, didn't do that, it has to go first to Gehenom to be cleansed, and then it will go back to Hashem. And once it goes back to Hashem, it will become united with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, because in order to be completely united with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the soul has to be cleansed. I mean, you can't come and become united with Hashem when the soul is dirty. It has to be cleansed. That's why better to do it here in this world and not to do it in the world above. That's why we have the opportunity to do tshuva here. And every day I have to do tshuva. It's not only to wait for Yom Kippur. Baruch Hashem, we have Kriyat Shema L'Mitah, when during Kriyat Shema L'Mitah we sit and we do an account. What did I do today? Maybe I need to do tshuva. Maybe I owe somebody money. Maybe I hurt somebody's feelings. Maybe I was out of line. Maybe I forgot to do something. Maybe I did something deliberately, but at least let me admit, let me say sorry. The promise is that if you do tshuva every night, then you don't have to do tshuva on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is just to wash off all the dirt. And how can one do tshuva on Yom Kippur? I don't remember what I did 2 weeks ago. How can I remember in Tishrei what I did the past Kislev? So the point is that our entire life has to constantly be in tshuva. We're human, we do mistakes. As long as you know how to admit and to do a rectification, then Hashem is ready to forgive everybody. But nevertheless, the soul cannot become one with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, cannot be united with Hashem if it has some dirt on it. So it has to go through a process of cleansing, and then it goes back to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now what happens is, Ve'i la it takanat. What if the fire of Gehenom does not fix the Ruach? What happens if the Ruach has serious damages on it? And because Gehenom is only to wash off the sins of the sins that we do for mitzvot lo ta'aseh. All the mitzvot, we have 356 mitzvot lo ta'aseh, and Gehenom only washes off the sins of lo ta'aseh. Regardless, we know that even that severe sins that are karet and mitah b'dei shamayim, all the severe sins, even Gehenom doesn't necessarily clean it. But most likely a person will have to come back in a reincarnation. But nevertheless, Gehenom has the quality of washing all the mitzvot lo ta'aseh. We have a lot of them. The good news for us is the majority of them don't apply to us, because 70%, give or take, of the mitzvot from the 620, I mean including the 613 plus the 7 of the sages, maybe 70% of them we don't really do. Maybe if we kind of stretch it, we'll do 25-30% of them. Because most of the mitzvot from the 613, we need to have a king, we need to have Bet HaMikdash, we need to have sacrifices, we need Kohanim, we need the actual land of Israel for Shemitah and Meiser and Truma, and so the majority of them we don't really do. But nevertheless, we still have a lot of mitzvot that are called negative mitzvot, or mitzvot lo ta'aseh. So Gehenom will only wash the dirt of a mitzvot lo ta'aseh, because if I don't do a certain mitzvah, that's when I bring some type of a dirt on my soul. And unfortunately, the mitzvot that are called mitzvot aseh, the positive mitzvot, the Gehenom is not a process of giving you what you're missing. It's just washing off the dirt. So if I'm missing mitzvot aseh, I have a problem now. When I became observant, and I was like, let's fix the mess here. We have 30 years now of a mess. How are we starting to fix it? So first of all, you stop, like we said yesterday, you close all the valves, no more junk coming in, not to produce more junk. But to do tshuva on a mitzvah lo ta'aseh is easy. You acknowledge the fact, you regret, you don't do it again, you do whatever tikkun you need to do, and you move on. But when you miss mitzvah aseh, then you miss the opportunity. And the difference between a mitzvah aseh and a mitzvah lo ta'aseh, mitzvah lo ta'aseh makes a blemish, mitzvah aseh, then you didn't do it. It's almost like me calling today my boss and telling him I'm not coming today to work. It's raining outside, I'm not coming. It's a very nice boss, he tells me, it's okay, you don't have to come, but I'm not paying you for today. So you're not getting anything. Here it's a little bit worse, because when I come down to the world, I'm already given a certain amount of days that I will be alive, and every day they have to be lived for the fullest. So if I miss the mitzvah aseh, to put tefillin on, to put tzitzit on, to say Birkat Hamazon, whatever it is, I missed the opportunity. That opportunity will never come back. I can go into the time machine and complete it, or I can put twice tefillin. So how do you rectify that? You have a deficiency now. When I became observant, I was like, okay, the mitzvot lo taseh, I'll do tshuva. But I made a calculation from my bar mitzvah till the day that I started putting tefillin on. I made a quick calculation. How many times did I put tefillin on? It was very easy. Sit with a calendar for a couple minutes. From 13 to that age, I was 27, 28, whatever it was. I calculated the days with calendars, minus Shabbat days, minus the Yamim Tovim, the festivals. Very quickly, I came to a number. It was about 4,400 and something. It's 4,100 and something times that I didn't put tefillin on. So that's a deficiency of how am I going to get that tefillin back? I owe that. I'm lacking now this mitzvah hazeh. How are you going to do that now? When are you going to put twice a day tefillin, once in the morning, once in the afternoon?
Does the tshuva fix it?
The tshuva, no. You still have to do an action. The way to do it is you go out to the streets and you put on this person tefillin, and then on this person tefillin, and on that person tefillin, and then let's say one individual starts putting tefillin every day because you helped initiate it. You get a certain percentage, so to say. It's like a MLM business. You get percentage from everybody. So I had to say, okay, I have a deficiency of X amount of tefillin. Let me start putting them out. Now, when somebody else puts it, doesn't mean I did it, but it will balance it out at some point. And I calculated how many Shabbatot I didn't observe. Also very easy. How many weeks are in the year? How many years? That's it. Very easy. Now start inviting people to your Shabbat table and making them observe Shabbat and try to somehow make them not drive that day or whatever it is. So mitzvah taseh is much, much harder to do tshuva for because you have a deficiency. And now how are you going to catch up? That's why a lot of people, when I tell them that, they tell me, okay, to go in the street now and start finding people to put tefillin on, I mean, it's not so easy. You're right. I didn't say it's easy, but it's doable. Everything is doable. It all depends how dedicated you are. And if you don't have the opportunity to do something, then you join somebody that does that. And you join forces. I always say that one of the biggest tikkunim, unfortunately, we all fail in a sin that is called gezel. Gezel is not really stealing. It's taking somebody from somebody that he doesn't really know, or sometimes knows, but he suffers a financial loss from that. Stealing is coming in the night and breaking the window and sneaking in and taking. Gezel, it's in broad daylight. And we fail constantly in gezel because we don't understand sometimes the severity of it, or the rules even in it. So not too long ago we had a student, she was sitting here, we were talking about gezel, and she told me I was in a trip in America, and we stopped in a 7-Eleven to buy some drinks. But on the way out there's this little counter where they have these disgusting greasy hot dogs. So she says, the next day, I knew I'm going to have a picnic. So I took all these little ketchup bags with me to have ketchup. Told them, sir, that's gezel. That is gezel. So what if you bought drinks? If you would buy a hot dog there, you are allowed to take 1 or 2 or 3 these little bags of ketchup to use it for your own hot dog. But to take it for the next day, that is gezel. You now owe that person 37 cents. And you're going to have a problem because you're never going to remember that you did that. And usually it's in very small amounts. So, and she told me, okay, what if I would go to the counter and tell the person, can I take these ketchups? If the person in the counter is not the owner, he can't tell you can take it or not. So there's a lot of rules in gezel. I'm not talking about now stealing and cheating and very hard to correct that. So when I became observant, then I went to a very big rabbi and I told him, the long list of things that I did. Then he told me, okay, for gezel and stealing and cheating, where you don't know who you took the money from. It's not me owing you money and coming here, listen, I owe you money from 2 years ago, here's the money. I don't even know who they are. So again, he also told me, okay, feed a lot of people on Shabbat. constantly feed people on Shabbat, because Shabbat it's a mitzvah to eat, and also they most likely will say Birkat Hamazon and make sure you're giving them kosher food. So for years I used to support 3 shuls, the Kiddush on Shabbat, to make sure people are constantly eating on Shabbat. And I didn't give a check. I actually went and bought food and brought it to the shul. So a lot of people say, okay, I don't have the ability to do such a thing. Okay, so join forces with somebody. Come to our home on Friday and start peeling potatoes. That you're included in the meal of Shabbat. That I can get some type of a tikkun from it, because maybe I don't have the ability or the means or the money or the time. Okay, so we have a lot of people peeling potatoes on Friday. And whatever it is, setting the tables, putting this, putting that, cleaning here, and you get involved here, so you can do this tikkun. But nevertheless, now he's saying here, what if the fire of Gehenom does not fix the ruach? Because the Gehenom is only to clean sins of mitzvot lo ta'aseh, of negative mitzvot. But what about the mitzvot that I didn't do, mitzvot aseh that I didn't do? I'm missing here. Therefore, va'lehahu rucha the mitgalgala ke'avna bekosfita. Oh, that poor ruach that will have to get reincarnated in a stone, but the way they do it, it's a stone that goes into like a slingshot. This is called kaf hakela. Dichtiv et hanefesh oivecha yikla'ena betoch kaf hakela. This is a verse from from Tanakh, that it's talking about that, like a slingshot. You take a stone, and a slingshot, you stretch it and you let go, and the stone flies to the other direction. What they do is they take the nefesh and they put it in something similar to the kaf hakela, and they throw it on the other side of the universe. Why? Sounds like a lot of fun. You get a free ride over the universe. Why? So that the person can complete in the next reincarnation everything that it didn't do in the life before. So a lot of the times we come down to this world and we don't understand why we came down here. In many cases we are here to complete what I didn't do in a previous life. So now, for example, we are all reincarnated. I need to understand that, wait a minute, first of all, I have to do what I have to do. Second of all, I have to complete probably some stuff I didn't do in a previous life. Now, I don't know what it is. And sometimes it's easy to pinpoint what do I need to do, because usually the mitzvot that are going to be the hardest for me to do, the ones that I really don't want to do, the ones that I don't feel like doing, these are usually the mitzvot that I have to complete. Because if not, it wouldn't be so hard. Sometimes it's very easy to do a certain mitzvah, and sometimes some of the mitzvot are extremely hard for me to do. And I will have to really struggle in order to do it. That usually is my indication of the mitzvot that are the ones that I need to fulfill. And of course, there's many other ways to kind of pinpoint on the mitzvot that are more connected to my tikkun. Usually you would see when a person is a Baal Tshuva or a convert, they have about 5, 10, 15, 2 years, whatever it is, a period, then they take off. Everything is like that. And everything is easy. And you get excited, everything you do with a lot of excitement, till you get to the first wall, to the first challenge. Then it slows down, and then the observant life starts becoming a little bit more difficult. So it's kind of easy to pinpoint one of the mitzvot that I already probably finished in a previous life that are just easy for me. Some people it's very easy for them to put tefillin. Some people they put tefillin a minute before Shkia. Some people it's very easy for them to be charitable or to host or to do acts of kindness. Other people, till you get a little smile out of them, the color of the sky changes. So, but at least the chesed here is that they let the soul another chance, come in a reincarnation and complete what you didn't do. Tanya ihahu rucha zache. We learned that if that ruach zacha means that he has the merit, Kama tavin genizin lebeahu alma. How much good and reward is waiting for that ruach in the world above, in the world, the world to come. If we would understand, I mean, not that we're doing it for the sake of the reward, not that we're doing it for the sake of the the applause to get in Shamayim. I'm doing it for the sake of heavens. That's at least has to be my attitude. But nevertheless, whether we want it or not, we do get a reward in the world above. And that's what he says, oh, how good is the reward and what's waiting for that soul in the world above. Dichtiv, as it says, Ain lo rata elokim zulatecha. Ya'aseh lemechake lo. It says in the book of Yeshaya, the prophet Yeshaya, chapter 64, that it says, Ain lo rata elokim zulatecha, and I never saw, you Elokim. What does it really mean? That the eye cannot even fathom. The eye means the source of my imagination, so to say, what is waiting in the world above. Because it's a big question here that I try to ask a few blind people. How do you vision things? I vision things because I have some type of data from my vision. But a person that is born blind, how is their vision? Very interesting. Because, how do we have, let's say, a dream or a vision or a thought? Close your eyes, you have a thought, because I saw it once. So there's some type of memory here. And I can imagine it. Now close your eyes, we do a meditation session, we all close our eyes, and I'm telling you, imagine now a beautiful beach and beautiful clear water, and then we all say, okay, I was once on a beach, I know what the blue water looks like. Now imagine these beautiful clouds, and you imagine it. What's going on with the person who was born blind? He never saw how a cloud looks like, or a beach, or whatever. How is their vision? It's an interesting question. Let's try to ask a few people, blind ones. Like, how do you have dreams, obviously. How is your dream look like? It's a very interesting idea. Not talking about a person that was born with vision and lost the vision. There's a certain individual that had a.
But in previous lines, we did see.
That's it. For me, it's interesting how it looks in their mind. I'm sure they have some type of way of seeing it. There's a woman who had a near-death experience, and she was blind from birth, and she was describing things, how she saw in the near-death experience things in this world. And very, very interesting. But nevertheless, why the prophet Yeshaya says, Ain lo rata elokim zulatecha? Because what my eye sees, translated into my vision, I cannot even fathom or imagine what is going on in the world above, to what reward we will get all the good things that we do. He really wants to say that even the prophets, when the prophet had a vision, all the prophets has their vision when they sleep. Only Moshe Rabbeinu was awake when he had his prophecy. All the rest of the prophets, they go to sleep, that's when they have their prophecy. Even the prophets, that they saw some type of a hint or a glimpse of what reward they're going to get in the world above, it's still cannot be even fathomed in the human mind how the world above, Gan Eden, Olam Haba, how it looks like. There's no words to even describe it. I mean, even if you're in your wildest dream, you're trying to think, how does Olam Haba look? I mean, what's waiting for us? I mean, we think that sometimes here we go on a vacation to Mexico, we think, wow, we're at the top of the world. We can't even fathom what is waiting for us from one little mitzvah. If we would understand, if we would have like a glimpse into Gan Eden and see what's going on there, I can guarantee to you we would be walking with 17 pairs of tzitzit on us. We would be sleeping here in the shul. We wouldn't even go out of the shul. So we're talking here about even the prophets. They didn't even see such a reward, even from what they saw. It's not even compared to nothing to what we get. Amar Rabbi Yossi, Ka'adahu barnash itkerevu yomoi. When the person, Rabbi Yossi said, when the person, his days are getting close to the death, Klatin yomin machrize aloe be'alma. 30 days in front of him before his death, it's announced in the world above, there's more room over here. They're announced in the world above, this individual is about to die. Even those birds that are flying under the heavens, they're announcing. The Zohar says that a lot of the birds that we see are actually angels. We just see them as birds. But sometimes birds, they come to give a certain message. Interesting that every time that my wife is pregnant, then we have a visit of a rare bird. And my first daughter, when my wife was pregnant, we lived in Brooklyn. We had a falcon on the tree in front of our window in New York. New York, there's only like these brown birds and some pigeons that are all full of smog. There's no birds in New York, and I have pictures of it. I was like, this is not unbelievable. And every time my wife is pregnant, we have a visit of a unique bird. The last daughter, we lived in LA. For 2 weeks, we had this gorgeous, beautiful white dove standing on their window, on the kitchen window, and it didn't leave us. And even when the kids went close to it, nothing. We have pictures of this white dove, and it was not normal. 2 weeks, it's standing there. So birds come a lot of the times, they're angels, and they come to give you a message. So he says here, this is Rabbi Yossi says in the Zohar, that even the birds of the heavens, they're announcing that this individual is about to come. Vehi zakahu tilatin yomin machrizin aloi ben tzadikah beginta denen. Now, if it's a tzaddik, if it's a person that their actions are righteous, then 30 days before the death, they're already announcing in Gan Eden, this individual is about to come. Start cleaning the holes here. When I was in the army, every time a general will come to the base, we would know general is coming. The whole base, we had to paint everything, polish the floors, clean everything. The general is coming. 2-minute walk, and we had to polish every little thing had to be perfect. It's called Misdar HaMefaked. The attention of the commander is coming. And sometimes we would get a notice, like a 2-hour notice, the general is coming or the colonel is coming, and everybody would go crazy. You have to polish your machine guns, everything has to be perfect.
Maverick.
So, excuse me?
Maverick.
Yeah. So same thing here. Tzaddik is about to come to Gan Eden, they're announcing in Gan Eden, start fixing everything, the Tzaddik is coming. We have learned that the same, these 30 days, before the person is about to die, every day from these 30 days, the soul goes out from the body every night, and it goes up to the world above, and they're showing it like a real estate agent. They're showing him the property. Here's the property you're about to get. And they're taking the soul to the world above. Here's where you're about to go to. Here's everybody that is waiting for you. And that person doesn't even know that that's what's about to happen. I told you yesterday that every day, one piece of the chaya, the second level of the neshama, starts leaving the body. It's 30 days of a preparation. Some people you actually see that they know, they feel something's going on. You see sometimes old people start giving away their stuff and their jewelry, they call somebody, and you see a lot of people that they like as if they feel something's about to happen.
This is the best trait for the fundraiser, to know the signs.
Come and sign the will. And the person doesn't have control over the neshama in these 30 days like he had control of the soul the 30 days before that. Let me finish the paragraph, then we'll take your question. Dichtiv, as it says, En adam shalit beruach lechola et haruach. It says in the book of Kohelet. Don't ask me to say Kohelet again like you told me to say it yesterday. Chimpantinity, how is it called? Ecclesiastic. Ecclesiastic. We're just going to stick with Kohelet. See, this is where the language stops. So Kohelet, in Kohelet it says in chapter 8, it says, En Adam Shalit Beruach Lechola Et Haruach. A person doesn't have control of the day of death. And already 30 days before the death, a person doesn't have control of his ruach like he was controlling before. Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said, Mikad Sheran in Nuntlat in Yomin. From the day that these 30 days start, Tzulma devarnash itchashach v'dikyotna itchazei be'arba itmanat. The tselem of the human being is getting darker. That's what I said. Tselem is the chaya. I mean, I'll be with you in a second. The names how we find in many teachings of the Kabbalah of the 5 levels of the soul is Yechida, Chaya, Neshama, Ruach, Nefesh. In many types of teachings, especially in the Zohar, it doesn't call the Chaya Chaya, rather it calls it Tzelem. B'Tzelem Elokim Nivra Adam, in the image. So Rabbi Yehuda says, 30 days before, in that process, the process of the 30 days, the Tzelem starts to darken, meaning to diminish the light. Every day, a piece leaves. Not only that, the shape of the tzelem, I mean the tzelem is what's giving us a shape. The tzelem is a shape, is a dmut, what is called. Then it's starting to diminish and diminish and diminish to a point that it doesn't have any shape anymore in this world. Yes, what's the question?
They say about the aura, the same thing, they keep leaving and leaving and they get smaller and then...
The aura is, by the way, the tzelem.
Yeah, they say it only stays for 3 days until the person dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, then once he dies, it's already...
This is an English term for tzelem, is aura. And they have different machines now that they can show. You do something like that, right? Your parents? It's a machine that you can see how the aura changes when you do certain things. They show it that a person puts tefillin on, that the aura of the person changes completely. And right? Am I correct? And they show a woman who covers the hair, how the colors of the aura changes completely. So yeah, tzelem is an aura, by the way. It's a or makif, it's a chaya. That's why it's surrounded in the body. It can't penetrate into the body. The only time it can penetrate into the body is on Shabbat, by the way. Ken?
You talked about the klipa making a hole, attaching and sucking the kedusha out of you. My question was, is it happening through the hole in the tzelem? Is that what, there's a
No.
way of repairing holes in the tzelem?
No, the tzelem doesn't get a hole. This is not...
Did you see these Kabbalistic with coins, and they do these 160 coins to repair, I was told to repair the tzelem. So you're saying it's not to repair the tzelem?
Tzelem, in order to damage, from the little that I know, the tzelem cannot be damaged. The neshama, listen, don't forget, we spoke about it the other day, that we have 5 levels to our soul. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechidah. We mentioned it the other day, last week, that each level is built from another 5 levels, that is built from another 5 levels. There's really 125 levels to the Neshama, which the lowest is the Nefesh, the Nefesh, the Nefesh, and the highest will be Yechida b'sheba Yechida sheba Yechida. Now, this is not in the levels that we're relating to. The levels that we can relate to is going from the Yechida sheba Nefesh. This is probably the highest level that we can actually relate to. So there is the Chaya sheba Nefesh. This is a much lower level than the Chaya sheba Yechida or B'Chaya sheba Chaya, and that will get damaged. Because that has to do with the Nefesh.
Is that what the klipa, you were saying how you have to repair these holes?
Yeah, the klipa sucks, usually the klipa will suck kedusha from the Nefesh. That's where it has a chiza from. Because the Nefesh is the one who will actually be doing the damage. And I mean, I read once that when somebody, chas v'shalom, has a severe sickness, or you know what we, in our generation, a popular one, unfortunately, is cancer. I mean, they also had diseases 100 years ago and 500 years ago. Because they didn't have medicine to figure out what it is, and people would just die from epidemics or all sorts of severe damages. When a person has a severe damage, there's a good chance that the damage is coming from such a deep place in the chaya or the neshama that it will manifest into the body in such a way, in a destructive way. Because, you know, we spoke about it today, it was it was I think Israel before, no, Yaakov, who was asking, how come we read the Torah today? And after reading the Torah, we did the Mishaberach. And in the Nosach of the Mishaberach, what do we say? Refuat HaNefesh ve'refuat HaGuf. Why are you saying Refuat HaNefesh? I didn't tell you the person has a sickness in the Nefesh. And you know what? Let's say, assuming maybe yes. How come you're saying first Refuat HaNefesh and then Refuat HaGuf? The healing of the Nefesh, then the healing of the Guf. Because all type of sickness that we have are coming from the Nefesh. Even if you have a sore throat, it's a problem in the Nefesh, by the way. So if you know how to keep the Nefesh in good standing, you won't get sick. Now one can come and say, yeah, but it's a virus going around here. I have a sore throat, or whatever it is, a certain infection. You're right, but we know that the Nefesh has organs. The same way that our body has organs, the Nefesh has organs. Now if one of my spiritual organs is weak because of me doing a certain sin, or me not doing a certain mitzvah, the spiritual organ will become sick. So the physical organ that is dressed on it will become weak too. So whatever elements in the physical world will be accessible, that organ will become sick. So yes, you got the sore throat from a virus, but it's because the organ was weak and not was able to push it and to repel it and not to be affected by it. So really all our sicknesses are coming from our nefesh. Now this is talking about minor sicknesses. Severe sicknesses, when it comes to really emotional and mental and more severe things, it's only coming from the nefesh. If you know how to repair the nefesh, then the physical body will not be sick. So obviously some of these sicknesses of the nefesh can happen from my own actions. Some of them can come from a different reincarnation. And some of the sicknesses will come from the nefesh. Usually it will come from the nefesh. If it's coming already from the ruach, or maybe the neshama, or the chaya, it will manifest into the world with a very severe sickness. And it will affect the person. That's why we know when Mashiach is going to come, we say there's not going to be any more sick people. We're going to close the hospitals. If you're a doctor, that's it. You put your diploma on the table and you're unemployed forever. We're not going to have doctors when Mashiach is going to come, because Mashiach is going to have the ability to correct the nefesh, that the nefesh is perfect, so that's it, you're not sick anymore. And really, when a person has some type of a sickness, he needs to try to track, what am I doing that my spiritual organ is weak, and to strengthen it. So that's why I'm not the biggest chassid of modern medicine, because this is just like a plaster. It's a band-aid. Go to the source. Why are you going something on the external part? Go directly to the source. You know, not too long ago, somebody came to me. People think I'm I don't know what people think I am. He came and told me, I have this rash here. What do you think I should do with it? And he told me when I had a certain cream, I rubbed it, the rash disappeared. So I said, you know what this cream is doing? The cream is just closing the vents for the toxins to come out. So yeah, you push the toxins back in, so you don't have a rash anymore. But they're still in your body, so they'll come out from somebody else, somewhere else, and in a different way. I told him, go to directly to figure out where there's toxins, get rid of that. It's not going to come out as a rash. So Mashiach is going to know how to do the tikkun for the nefesh. Then by default will affect the body. That's why when we do a mishaberach next to the Torah, then we say refuat nefesh ve'refuat haguf. First have a refuah, a cleansing and a cleaning, and a refuah, a medicine for the nefesh. It will affect the body too. So you're right that if chas v'shalom the chaya has a certain blemish on it, yeah, it's almost like, I don't know if you remember. When I don't know how it is now. I wasn't in a movie house for maybe 20 years. But when I was a kid and we used to go to the movie houses, if there was a stain on the film, there would be a stain on the screen, on the actual screen.
Right.
And you would sometimes, go like, try to move the stain. So this is the same idea. I mean, many years ago I was a photographer. And if the viewfinder, where the shutter, if there's a little stain on the mirror there, then on the actual picture you'll get a dot, and you're trying to get it. This is exactly when there's a certain stain on the chaya, on the neshama, on the nefesh, and it's projected out, then that will come out as a deficiency, a sickness, or some type of a lacking in this world. Exactly what David said. There is a type of photography, and it's called quantum photography, that if a person would lose a limb, and you still see the shape of the limb after the limb was cut off, and because the nefesh, the limb maybe is off, but the nefesh is still there, and the structure, the spiritual structure is still there with the chaya, with the aura, and you actually see, and these people actually testify that they still have pain. The arm was off, the leg was off, but they still have pain there. So, I mean, you know, you can see it unfortunately with soldiers when they lose limbs or car accidents, lo aleno. But anyways, the real refuah comes from the nefesh. We're going to continue Bezrat Hashem this ma'amar already tomorrow. We're reached to our end, but at least we know that we're getting a little bit of interesting information here. What happens before we leave, after we leave, when we leave, what's waiting for us, what do we have to prepare for? Bezrat Hashem. So needless to say, when we want to take something practical, I mean, we're learning it to be practical, not to learn things that are above our knowledge. Is to understand that every moment in my life is a very valuable moment. And every moment here I can do something positive and not. It depends on me. And everything that happens to me, it's not because Hashem is mean. People say Hashem is so mean, Hashem is punishing me. Hashem is not punishing anybody. Hashem is actually kind to you. He's giving you an opportunity to rectify what you messed up. So take the opportunity and understand that our days here are numbered. We don't know when my time is up. We don't get an expiration date on our birth certificate. Can you imagine when you get on your birth certificate also the birthday and the death date? Oh, okay, so I know I have another 37 years. I don't know that. Maybe it's now, maybe it's tomorrow, maybe I don't know when it's coming. So I have to value my life. I have to value every moment of my life and to apply something good into it. Not to look at something, oh my gosh, I'm so bad, I'm going to be barbecued in Gehenom, and says, the attitude has to be completely different. What can I do now good for my own soul, for somebody else's soul, for the tikkun, for the rectification of something that I may be damaged? And to understand that sometimes a challenge in my life is not a punishment. As Hashem is saying, do a rectification, do a tikkun. Okay, nobody says life here is easy. Nobody said, it doesn't say anywhere in the Torah that we came down to this world to lick honey. We came here to work. So practical advice is to value every moment of your life. You know, I told you once, I told it a couple times, that a while ago I lived in New York and I went to a lecture in Westchester. And it was about 7-hour lecture. I started at 8 o'clock in the evening and finished about 3 o'clock in the morning. Came out of the lecture, my mind was already exploding, just sit and talk for 7 hours and questions. And I came into the car, I put in the GPS my address, and it shows me an hour exactly from where I was to my home. Okay, I start driving, I open up the windows, I put a nice CD of music, and I'm just to relax a little bit. And I'm listening to the music, and then a thought comes to my mind. I'm like, what am I doing? I have now a whole hour till I get home. Now what are my options right now? I have one option is to listen to music for a whole hour, and you know what? I have another option of taking out the CD of the music and putting a CD of a shiur Torah, of some Torah. Now let me weigh now the two options. If I'm going to listen to the music, you know what's going to happen after an hour? What I'm going to gain? A neck ache. Going like this for a whole hour. So at the end I have a neck ache here. Or what will I gain if I now listen to Torah for a whole hour? You can't even compare. There's not even a comparison here. So this is I know some people say, okay, that's already fanatic. I need to relax. I need to this. This is the sheker, by the way, of the Yetzer Hara. Not too long ago, my wife did something, and I told her, why are you doing that? She's like, I need to relax. I told you if you sit and learn Tehillim for 20 minutes, that will actually bring the real relaxation for your neshama from within. Then this is what's going to cause you to really relax. The Yetzer Hara is going to come and say, watch the movie, play the game, read the newspaper, put your feet up, and you need to relax. I'm not saying that we don't need to relax, but it's the sheker because the relaxing really comes from within. So not everybody is necessarily going to apply it, but the point is that every moment I can apply it to something positive, something negative, something that is neither. I have to understand that, wait a minute, I don't know how many more minutes I have here, how many more seconds I have here, how many more hours I have. I don't know. Maybe Mashiach is coming tonight at midnight. I don't know. I'm not thinking about my death. I'm thinking about the moment Mashiach is coming. So the point is not to live in fear, chas v'shalom, rather to live in such a appreciation to Hashem that when I wake up in the morning, I believe most people say Modeh Ani when they wake up in the morning. Most people say it so fast that even Hashem can understand even what you're saying. I never saw a person waking up in the morning and starting to hyperventilate like, I'm back. Who does that? Nobody says that. Nobody jumps out of the bed, thank you. Most people are like, another day. So, and I never saw anybody who's taking a breath and saying, thank you Hashem, the lungs are working. Wow, here's coming another one. I don't know many people that thank Hashem thank Hashem once a day for breathing. Okay, the system is working well. Sometimes people go to the hospital, they can't even breathe. They have a machine doing it for them. The point is really to see the reality and saying, what kind of a kindness, that's a chesed, Hashem. It's letting me breathe today, it's letting me see today, it's letting me understand, it's letting me do something today. And every moment here I have to apply it to something very positive. And I know it sounds a little bit fanatic, but when your entire life is about appreciating, is this appreciation to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, trust me, your life looks completely different.